This has to be a joke, Charles Benson scoffed, flinging my carefully printed proposal onto his polished walnut desk. You want us to rebuild our entire platform based on some flashy cloud trend? I stood in the corner office of Benson Tech's Dallas headquarters, trying not to let the heat in my face betray how hard I'd worked. Nearly a year of research and testing, dismissed like a bad idea on a whiteboard. It's not a trend, I replied, showing him data on my laptop. Enterprise systems are rapidly moving to cloud infrastructure. If we don't innovate... Enough, Dana, he cut me off, reclining in his chair like a man who hadn't updated his tech vocabulary since 2005. You're a solid developer, but this company was built on stability. Our clients don't want new, they want dependable. My name is Dana Quinn. I was 34 at the time, and I was watching my boss make the worst call of his career, though he didn't know it yet. Google, SAP, even NetSuite are fully pivoting, I continued. Our clients are already asking questions. What we need, he said firmly, standing to end the meeting, is for you to stick with maintenance and keep quiet about buzzwords. He crumpled my proposal and dropped it in the bin. This never happened. Back at my desk, my hands hovered over the keyboard, not to update legacy systems, but to polish the prototype I'd been building at home. Let me guess, said Lena Morales, our UX lead, sliding into the chair beside me. He called it a trend? Worse, I muttered. A distraction. Lena leaned in. The Becker account just took a meeting with Apex Cloud. It's starting. I knew it too. My idea wasn't dead. It was just about to be reborn, under my own name. I'd been the one who discovered the client migration plans during a standard system audit, and it wasn't just Becker Industries. 3 of our largest accounts, quietly shopping for cloud nettle alternatives. Maybe I should have waited, I murmured, mostly to myself. Built more proof, strengthened the model. Or maybe, Lena said, lowering her voice, you should take your brilliance somewhere it'll actually matter. The idea had been circling in my head for weeks. I'd already received messages from recruiters at Horizon Cloud and SigmaCore. But I wasn't ready to give up, not on my vision. I believed Benson Tech could still evolve, if only... A notification popped up on my screen. Mandatory all-staff meeting, 4:00 p.m. Strange, Charles never called meetings that late unless... Fails, Lena said quietly, eyes scanning her screen. Q3 must have tanked harder than we thought. She was right. At 4, we gathered in the main conference room. Charles stood beside 2 grim-faced HR reps. His tone was coated in plastic sympathy. As part of a strategic workforce recalibration, he began, but I wasn't listening. I already knew. When they started calling names, mine was third. Please gather your personal items. HR will escort you out. As I boxed up my desk, I caught Charles watching from his office, expression unreadable but pleased. He hadn't just shut down my idea, he'd shut me down. Or so he thought. What he didn't know was that I'd been preparing. Every version of my prototype, every wireframe, API model, and market analysis, saved to my personal cloud, off Benson Tech's grid, fully mine. Lena met me at the elevator. This is a mistake, she said, pulling me into a quick hug. Maybe, I said, smiling, or maybe it's exactly the opening I needed. She slipped me her card. Keep in touch. You're not finished, Dana. I sat in my car as dusk fell over Dallas. 3 years of work, erased. But for the first time in weeks, I felt something I hadn't expected. Freedom. But as I stared at the rain streaking down my windshield, something shifted. I thought about my prototype, what it could become. While others clung to outdated systems, I saw the future unfolding in sharp detail. My phone buzzed. Marcus Wong, my old roommate from UT Austin, now a senior partner at Crescent Ridge Capital, a rising VC firm in Houston. Heard what happened? Still thinking about that cloud platform idea? Call me. I smiled, Charles may have tossed my proposal in the trash, but he had unknowingly released me from the very box I needed to escape. That night, in my modest apartment overlooking White Rock Lake, I opened my laptop and began drafting a new pitch. Not for Benson Tech, but for me. The first line read, Nimbus Core, the next generation of enterprise cloud infrastructure. Texts from former coworkers poured in, full of sympathy and quiet outrage. I barely glanced at them. I was already miles ahead, designing a platform that would make Benson Tech irrelevant. Focus on legacy systems, Charles had said. I was building the system that would make legacy obsolete. By midnight, I had the foundation of my architecture mapped out, the skeleton of my business plan drafted, and my fingers flying across the keyboard like they had a mission. Because they did. 18 months later, I stood in front of the executive board of Becker Industries presenting Nimbus Core. The very clients who once hesitated were now captivated. This migration? It'll only take hours? Their CTO asked, eyebrows raised. Actually, I said with a smile, we tested it using your own architecture. It takes 43 minutes. The room filled with stunned murmurs. Nimbus Core's dashboard on the screen showed real-time efficiency Benson Tech couldn't dream of. And suddenly, I wasn't just fired. I was the future. These numbers would have seemed impossible unless you understood just how ancient Benson Tech's infrastructure had become. My phone buzzed in my blazer pocket. Probably Marcus, checking in on the demo. Since that first late-night text, Marcus Wong had become more than just a former roommate or a venture capitalist. He was now Nimbus Core's lead investor, and its most vocal believer. Our first pitch session had changed everything. Let me get this straight, he'd said, scrolling through my prototype demo. You built this while working at Benson Tech, and Benson threw it out? Along with 3 years of my career, I'd replied. He didn't laugh the way Charles had. This laugh was sharp, excited, the sound of someone spotting gold in a discarded mine. Their loss, Marcus had said, pulling out his phone. Let me make some calls. Within a week, we secured $5 million, 0 cents in seed capital. Within a month, I had my first hires, including Lena Morales, who resigned from Benson Tech the day she saw Nimbus Core in action. Their QA team is a dinosaur, she said, handing in her notice. And Dana actually sees the future. Now, watching the Becker Industries board marvel at our platform, I was struck by the contrast. At Benson Tech, I'd been dismissed. Here I was leading innovation. How soon can we launch? Their CEO asked. I smiled. We can start tomorrow. Back at our new office in downtown Dallas, high ceilings, glass walls, and energy that felt alive. Lena was already waiting. Well, she asked. I didn't have to answer. They're in, I said. Full migration, 3-year contract. Cheers broke out across the workspace. Becker was now our third major client, and the largest defection from Benson Tech yet. Oh, Lena grinned, pulling up an email. Guess who just posted a cloud architect job? I looked. Benson Tech. Bit late, I said, especially since we just hired the top 3 in the region. Another buzz. This one an alert. Benson Tech stock down 40% after Q3 earnings miss. Lena chuckled. Think we should send Charles a thank you card? Maybe, I said, after we take 2 more clients. If you want to see what happens when the underdog becomes the industry giant, and just how far Dana Quinn takes Nimbus Core, hit that subscribe button. The next chapter is only getting bolder. I was about to answer Lena when our office manager popped her head in. Dana, there's someone here to see you. Says he's from Benson Tech's board. That caught my attention. Send him in. Edward Lang, lead director of Benson Tech, stepped in like he didn't quite belong. His tailored gray suit looked stiff against our open-love office, all glass, greenery, and soft lighting. He stayed standing, despite my motion toward a chair. Ms. Quinn, he began, voice formal, I'll be direct. The board has been monitoring Nimbus Core's growth with concern. I raised a brow, or envy. He cleared his throat. We believe there may be opportunities collaboration, possibly a merger. I let the silence hang, savoring the irony. Does Charles know you're here? Mr. Benson is not currently involved in this outreach. I turned my monitor so he could see our client dashboard. We've claimed 47% of Benson Tech's market share in just 18 months. By this time next year, we'll be over 80%. Why would we merge? Resources, market depth, legacy presence. Legacy is the problem, I interrupted. Benson Tech is chained to it. Nimbus Core is the future, and the future doesn't need the past's permission. At least consider. I did consider it 2 years ago, in Charles's office. He tossed it in the trash. Edward's face stiffened. He knew the door was closing. Here's my counteroffer, I added. When Charles Benson admits he was wrong, publicly, we'll talk collaboration, but not merger. He left, looking defeated. Lena peeked in. Merger pitch? Probably the first of many. They're just waking up to what they lost. What he lost, I corrected. My phone buzzed. Martinez Group CEO. Contract signed. When can your team start? I smiled. Tell the team to prep. It's go time. And maybe send Charles a fruit basket, Lena quipped. To thank him for tossing the best idea he ever had. That evening, as I stayed late reviewing implementation schedules, an unexpected name appeared in my inbox. Charles Benson. Dana, we need to talk. What will it take to end this? I started typing, deleted it, then typed again. It was never about ending anything, Charles. It was about building something better, something you were too afraid to even consider. But hey, thanks for the motivation. Sometimes the best ideas come from the trash. I hit send and returned to my work. There was a platform to grow, teams to lead, and an industry to reshape. Charles had taught me something valuable. Rejection isn't the end. It's the redirection innovation needs. Exactly 2 years after Charles Benson crumpled my proposal into his leather wastebasket, I stood on stage at the Global Enterprise Tech Forum in San Francisco, preparing to deliver the keynote address. The irony wasn't lost on me. Benson Tech had never even qualified for this summit. Now, I was here representing the standard they'd once refused to believe in. In the front row, Marcus beamed, like a proud older brother. Next to him sat Lena and our founding team, pride written across their faces. But in the back row, trying not to be noticed, sat Charles Benson, looking far less polished than he had in his heyday. Ladies and gentlemen, I began, voice clear, steady. 2 years ago, I was told cloud integration was a phase, that enterprise clients would never move away from legacy systems. Today, I'm here to show you exactly how wrong that was. Behind me, the screens lit up. 84% market share, 99.99% uptime, 71% average client savings. Nimbus Core active in 27 countries. Innovation, I continued, isn't just about building new things. It's about challenging old power with better ideas. From the back, Charles shifted uncomfortably. After the keynote, the crowd surged forward, investors, press, and prospective clients. Nimbus Core wasn't just a rising star anymore. We had become the gold standard. The same ideas Charles Benson once scoffed at as tech buzzwords were now being dissected in MBA programs as case studies in disruptive innovation. Ms. Quinn, a young journalist called out, notebook in hand. Is it true Nimbus Core's architecture was originally pitched to Benson Tech? Before I could speak, a voice answered from behind. Yes, it was, and I'm the one who threw it away. The crowd turned as Charles Benson stepped forward, looking older, thinner, and burdened by more than just the collapse of a company. Can we talk? He asked quietly. Private. I nodded and led him toward a quiet alcove behind the stage. Up close, he looked every bit the man who'd lost more than just market share. He'd lost vision, relevance, and trust. I saw your keynote, he said. Those numbers, they're incredible. They're what I tried to show you 2 years ago, I replied. Everything in that proposal? You had it in your hands. He gave a tired nod. I know. The board's replacing me. Benson Tech is dying. The market changed, I said. You didn't. I made the wrong call, he admitted finally. I thought I knew what our clients needed. I did. I watched him quietly. There it was. The apology I once thought I needed, but now it felt more like closure than validation. So what do you want? He handed me a folder, paper, naturally. A proposal. Not a merger, not a buyout, just a partnership. Let Benson Tech become an official Nimbus Core implementation partner. We know legacy pain points better than anyone. Let us help other companies make the jump I refuse to take. I studied him. The arrogance was gone. In its place, humility, maybe even growth. Give me one reason, I asked, that isn't about saving Benson Tech. He took a breath. Because I was wrong, not just about the software, about you. And maybe helping others avoid my mistakes is the only way to make it right. I pulled out my phone and sent a quick message to Lena. Remember that implementation partner program we talked about? It's time. I turned to Charles. I'll have our team review the proposal, I said. But understand, this isn't about Benson Tech, it's about the clients who deserve better. He nodded. Of course. Thank you, Dana, just for considering it. Don't thank me yet, I cut in. You'll be starting at zero. No handouts, no guarantees. You'll earn every client's trust, just like we did. As Charles walked off, Lena appeared at my side, arms crossed. You're actually considering this? Why not? I smiled. Sometimes the best revenge isn't crushing your competition. It's making them work for you. The next month passed in a blur. We launched Nimbus Core's implementation partner program, with Benson Tech quietly listed as the first onboarded firm. Most didn't catch the irony. Charles officially stepped down as CEO and took a backseat role, leading Benson Tech's new cloud migration unit under our guidelines. Tech media loved the story. Once a giant, now a partner, Benson Tech's surprising second act. But the real transformation didn't make headlines, it happened in the quiet. One evening, I found Charles alone at a workbench in our DevOps wing, flipping through Nimbus Core's documentation. Your architecture, he said, glancing up. It's brilliant. You had it in front of you, I replied. You just didn't believe in it. He nodded, slowly. The hardest part was watching you succeed, knowing I could have helped build this, not stand in its way. I shrugged. Maybe we needed to build it outside of Benson Tech, outside limits. 6 months later, I stood in my office overlooking downtown Dallas. On my desk lay a framed article, From Rejection to Revolution, How Nimbus Core Reshaped Enterprise Tech. My phone buzzed, a message from Lena. You need to see this. Benson Tech just completed their 100th Nimbus Core migration. They're actually getting good. I smiled, glancing at the old Trome wastebasket I'd kept. Yes, that one. A reminder of where it all began. Another message appeared, this time from Charles. Martinez Group is referring us to their partners. Never thought I'd be thankful for being proven wrong. I replied, innovation means being willing to change. Better late than never. I turned to the glowing dashboard on my wall, metrics updating in real time. Clients migrated, systems modernized, legacy replaced. But the real victory wasn't in numbers. It wasn't even in making Charles admit he was wrong. It was proving that good ideas always find a way forward, even when others try to bury them. As I packed up for the evening, I passed the inscription in our lobby, cast in brushed steel across the wall. Innovation doesn't ask permission. Beneath it, etched in smaller letters, March 8, 2023, proposal rejected at Benson Tech. Not a failure, a beginning. Success, I'd learned, isn't about revenge. It's about vision, resilience, and the courage to build it anyway. And sometimes, the people who doubted you end up helping you lead the future. That's the real victory. If you've ever had your ideas dismissed or your voice overlooked, leave a comment below. I want to hear your story.